Hello, my name is Jackson Huang, and I'm here to present to you a presentation called The Impact of Oil on the Economy of Asian Countries, especially the Middle Eastern countries such as Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Iran. Natural resources like petroleum and other mineral oils are wanted and needed by every country, and those who export it have an almost completely oil-based economy. Prices for petroleum have heavily risen due to the overpopulation of gas-based vehicles and wars. Many places have had their oil reserves depleted over the years, and the ones with the wealth of petroleum have enjoyed a fantastic economic situation. Petroleum exports are worth a lot and sell worldwide, especially because of the fact that it is essential. Countries from the Middle East have enjoyed the success, but they are dependent on mineral oils for the economy. Oil has heavily impacted the economies of countries such as Kuwait, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Now let's go to Kuwait. Kuwait's economy has been heavily influenced by the rich oil reserves. The economy depends heavily on oil, and the petroleum accounts for nearly half of their GDP. And this fact is from the CIA World Factbook. This shows that their wealth has come from selling and exporting oils, and they lack variety in their economy. They don't have many other methods of supporting their economy because of their dependence on oil. Since Kuwait is in the Middle East, they lack vital resources such as fresh water and arable land, which makes agriculture and farming impossible. They also lack drinkable water, which makes them rely on exporting food and water. So their diet and the people there have been affected by this heavily, and the diet consists of many imported foods. Oil has helped their economy in many ways, such as reducing their budget from a huge amount of 5.5 billion to 3 billion, which is a huge reduction of 2.5 billion. This has led to them to economic prosperity, and oil has created many jobs for the people of Kuwait. But once the oil reserves are depleted, a huge crisis may occur, and because the fact that wealth comes from oil, not all things can come to an end, and they may suffer really badly. But right now, Kuwait's rich oil reserves have turned their economy to a petroleum-based, and it has helped them bail out of many problems and helped them create economic prosperity. Kuwait has benefited largely from oil. Now let's go to Iran, another country in the Middle East. Iran's large oil reserves have helped their economy greatly by creating jobs for many of their people, and many of their citizens have benefited economically by their industry in oil. And jobs such as coal miners, office workers, or just industry workers. Nearly 1/3 of their population is working in the oil industry, and since they have 72 million people, 1/3 of their economy is almost 24 million, and that's how many people work in the oil industry. Well, 1/4 of it work in agriculture, which is pretty good since they have a little bit more diversity than Kuwait. The large mineral oil reserves have created jobs and economic stability for them, which leads to economic stability. But when oil prices inflate or deflate, this could either result in success or crisis. They are the second largest country in OPEC, which also stands for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, involving many countries in the Middle East. A lot of jobs have been created and related to this company. And back in 1973, when oil price shock has sent the economy to deep crisis, and they took a long time to get out of. But now they have learned a lesson, and they're pursuing economical diversity, which is very good. But due to their heavy reliance on oil, there's still heavy unemployment, which has led to many of the talented youth to go overseas to find better jobs. Oil is their depending factor of their success or their failure. The rapid rise in the economy is largely thanks to Iran's huge involvement in OPEC. Now let's go to Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest countries to be benefited by oil, and this has led them to become an economic superpower. They have a wealth in oil reserves, and they have many of the world's largest oil reserves in the world. This has led to them having a successful yet undiversified economy. But it's almost completely from one resource, which is petroleum and mineral oils. It has provided many great exporting deals and jobs, and 90% of the earnings have come from it, which has made them to a very rich country. But since they live in a desert climate, most of their land is unusable, and which means they lack arable land. Barely any, since most of it is desert. So the government had to take advantage of the large amounts of oil to make up for what they don't have. So this has led to a very bad situation. The good thing is, the economy will grow and improve for a short period of time, but it is unsustainable in the future, because once it runs out, they will be suffering a lot, because all good things come to an end, no matter what it is. The oil makes up for the lack of other natural resources, such as, since they lack in water and foods, the oil makes money for them to buy other foods, and since they lack many other occupational options, oil has created an industry for many of their citizens to work in. Despite this, Saudi Arabia is also one of the biggest oil-consuming nations in the biggest oil-consuming nation in the Middle East, and is one of the largest consumers in the world. In the summers, they directly burn crude oil for shelter and warmth in their homes, and not surprisingly, many of their homes are powered by oil, and many of the jobs are oil-related or created from oil. This has made their economy so strong that the government officiated the companies, and this actually led to an economic success. The government used the wealth in oil to make up what the country lacks, directly or indirectly. Saudi Arabia has had the greatest impact on oil in most of their country, including the government has become petroleum based. Now let's go to a conclusion. Kuwait and Iran and Saudi Arabia are all heavy consumers of oil and have used the wealth and resources for the benefit of their economy. Successes of all these companies have been directly or indirectly from oil. Their economies have become very much undiversified. They have been mainly based on oil, and it has created jobs for the government, which are oil based. and the government has benefited too. All the success that oil brings have made all these countries either very successful or on a rapid economical rise. And oil has given them and provided them because they lack a lot. Oils like petroleum have heavily impacted and influenced countries such as Kuwait, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Thank you for listening to my presentation.